Helium has been getting some very well-deserved recognition these last few weeks from major players in the crypto space. Most recently, and for the first time, is from Binance US CEO Brian Schroeder. In a recent interview, he mentions some of his purchases of Bitcoin at 29 and 19,000, but also highlights Helium as a token that he is bullish on. That's a massive shout out for Helium from a very prominent figure in the crypto space, but it's not the first. Shark Tank's Kevin OLeary, or Mr. Wonderful, has also been open about his investment and confidence in Helium for quite a while now, most recently in a podcast interview just last week. Now, Mr. OLeary also doesn't fail to mention Pollen Mobile in some of these interviews. Let's take a look at the details in today's video. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another video here on the Crypto Compound channel. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you guys are having a great day. Please hit that like and subscribe on the way in. It really helps support the channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing some prominent names in the crypto space, broadcasting some unprovoked bullishness and confidence in our beloved Helium. First, we have Binance US CEO Brian Schroeder. Secondly, we have Kevin OLeary of Shark Tank, or Mr. Wonderful. He has made multiple statements regarding Helium, most recently in an interview here just about a week ago. We are going to talk about all of this. We'll also talk about Mr. Wonderful's mentioning of Pollen Mobile in the same sentence as Helium, which we don't see many people do here in the Helium community, but we should start doing a lot more of. All of that and more coming up. But I did want to mention, I did put out a poll last night just to gauge some confidence in the Helium community as to if we can expect some new all-time highs here from Helium. We do have an over 50% yes rating here right now. There are 6 hours left if you guys want to vote. I'm very curious to see what this would look like if we get as many people voting here as possible. So jump on over there if you wish. Now, guys, before we jump into the video, I do want to mention that the suspicion we had in previous technical analysis videos of this rally failing due to there being absolutely no support here from the MACD seems to be happening. We are approaching a massive support line here for Helium, for HNT, and a break of this level could send us back to retest the $6.50 or $7 range. That is certainly not out of the question, which would be a sad development here on the charts. But of course, this bear market is nowhere near over, guys. We are going to be here for a while. Of course, we would like to see Helium outperform as it has been. However, we have to be prepared to come back and retest and potentially visit these two red lines down here. More on that in future technical analysis videos. But guys, if we take a look here at the Insider or Business Insider article, we can see the CEO of Binance US shares the thresholds where he bought the Bitcoin dip as crypto crashed and explains why he's bullish on a token called Helium. Now, guys, in thinking about why he might be putting such an emphasis, or why this article might be putting such an emphasis on specifically Helium, I couldn't help but think that maybe he is doing that because Helium is not on Coinbase and can only be traded by the majority of people in the US on Binance. Now, of course, that is just my brain wandering, but it is interesting to think about. And as we can see down here, he says Schroeder said he is bullish on the Helium token and its incentive to strengthen crypto networks. Now, we have to scroll down a little bit to get to the Helium part, and it is interesting to note how the discussion about Helium is starting to evolve and started to change now that Helium is almost becoming a network of networks rather than an Internet of Things network. As we can see, they quote him saying, "I really like Helium because it's basically creating a network and a motivation to make a network stronger through cryptocurrency. So incentivizing people to go find dead spots where there are people that need network connectivity for your Internet of Things and perhaps in the future, your phone, that's amazing," Schroeder said. Now, as you can see, the sub-DAO structure is shining through here where he says by perhaps in the future, your phone. Of course, that is referencing to the 5G and the potential Wi-Fi sub-DAOs that are being developed now for Helium. But guys, it is super interesting to see that Helium makes it into the title of this article here on June 27th, just a few days ago here on Business Insider. Now, of course, I'm not Business Insider's biggest fan, but they certainly do have a large audience. and of course, Brian Schroeder is a prominent figure here in the crypto space. Now, we also have Kevin OLeary, who has been an advocate for Helium for quite a while now. He started mentioning Helium in certain interviews probably about a year ago, but he has continued to mention Helium in multiple interviews and articles. As we can see, this is from earlier this year in April. He does mention Helium along with some other cryptocurrencies down here. This is a generic article referencing some of what he has said. Mr. Wonderful is known for calling crypto the 12th sector of the S&P within the next 10 to 12 years. As you can see down here, he says that in many interviews, and he's pushing huge for regulation in the space, which of course we do need for institutions to be able to adopt this type of technology and to get fully involved and invested in these markets. Now, he also mentions Helium in this video here on Kevin OLeary's own YouTube page, where he is being interviewed by the Bankless podcast. He mentions Helium right around the 8-minute and 10-second mark. If you want to come take a look, he mentions it very briefly. He always manages to fit Helium in when discussing some of his smaller bets in the space. I think he says in this interview he has about 32 positions in crypto. Of course, some will end up going to zero or losing money, not working out, but of course he only needs a few to really work. He always mentions Helium by name in many of these interviews. Now, interestingly enough, he does also mention Pollen Mobile in a lot of these interviews, not in this one specifically. I can't find the ones where I have seen him mention Pollen Mobile. I will bring that up in future videos as they appear, but I wanted to make note of that because there are a lot of people in the Helium community that I notice avoid mentioning Pollen Mobile like the plague. Of course, that is mostly, I won't mention these people by name, but they are people that are associated more closely with Nova Labs themselves than the MOC. And I, of course, understand why they would avoid discussing Pollen Mobile, as they are a direct competitor, but I think there should be a larger discussion about what they are building, if Helium can learn anything from them, and what Pollen Mobile is doing differently than Helium. We will make sure to cover more discussions on that because I think it is very important, and as Kevin OLeary mentions, he is making bets all across the space. So if you are just a speculative investor here, and that is why you are interested in Helium, Pollen Mobile as an investment could also certainly be a bet that you would want to make. We will talk about more of this, as I've noticed a lot of people associated with Helium do not mention Pollen Mobile at all. It's almost as if they do not exist. But guys, I wanted to share this information with you guys, these honorable mentions here in the media about Helium, some of the interesting takeaways, and of course, just a little teaser here at Pollen Mobile, which we will be discussing more about in future videos. Guys, that is all I have for you in today's video. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Please hit that like and subscribe if you have not already to stay up to date in the latest Helium and HNT news and analysis. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, but just like that, this video is over and I will see you next time.